In a tense political climate, where immigration policy has become a lightning rod for national debate, the actions of federal officials are under intense scrutiny from both sides of the aisle. The country is divided, with passionate voices calling for both stricter enforcement and greater compassion for immigrant communities. White House border czar Tom Homan, a figure both praised and criticized for his hardline stance, publicly defended a recent immigration crackdown in Minnesota, a state with a significant immigrant population and a history of welcoming refugees. On December 7, 2025, Homan appeared on national television to address mounting controversy over increased enforcement actions, specifically targeting the Somali community. The broadcast drew national attention, with many watching closely to see how the administration would justify its approach. He claimed these operations are necessary, citing what he described as a large undocumented Somali and broader immigrant population in Minnesota. Homan argued that the state's unique demographics require a robust federal response, and insisted that public safety is at the heart of these actions. Homan, who previously served as acting director of ICE, framed the crackdown as standard law enforcement procedure, not a targeted attack on any one group. He emphasized that these operations are part of a broader national effort to enforce existing immigration laws. He insisted ICE does not target individuals based on ethnicity or national origin, but rather apprehends any undocumented person encountered during operations. According to Homan, agents are trained to follow the law impartially, regardless of community or background. Homan declared, "We're going to arrest every illegal alien that we find there," underscoring the administration's aggressive stance. His words sent a clear message that the federal government intends to pursue enforcement without exception or hesitation. He blamed sanctuary city policies for forcing ICE to increase its presence, arguing that local officials who refuse to cooperate with federal authorities create the very situations that draw criticism. Homan contended that these policies undermine public safety and make it harder for law enforcement to do their jobs. Homan expressed full support for President Trump's agenda, calling the crackdown a direct fulfillment of campaign promises made to voters. He positioned himself as a loyal enforcer of the administration's vision, determined to deliver results on a contentious issue. By framing the issue as one of law and order, Homan sought to justify the crackdown as necessary for national security and the rule of law. He argued that strong enforcement is essential to maintaining the integrity of the nation's borders and upholding the legal system, even as critics continue to question the human cost of such policies. The Minnesota enforcement actions followed a series of widely condemned remarks from President Trump. Last week, he referred to Somali immigrants as garbage that should be sent back, sparking outrage from civil rights groups and the Somali American community. Trump doubled down, calling Somalia the worst country on earth and blaming its immigrants for destruction. Critics warned such language from the president incites prejudice and endangers targeted groups. When asked about the garbage comment, Tom Homan distanced himself from the language but reaffirmed support for Trump's policies. The president's rhetoric provided a charged backdrop for the ICE operations. For Somali Americans, being labeled as garbage by their own president was a profound betrayal. To truly understand Minnesota's Somali community, it's important to recognize that their journey here began not with a simple decision, but with a desperate need for safety. Their story is rooted in survival, resilience, and hope, a story that started with crisis, not choice. In 1991, Somalia was plunged into a devastating civil war, forcing millions of people to flee their homes in search of peace. The United States responded by opening its doors, and in 1992, began issuing visas to Somali refugees, offering them a chance to rebuild their lives far from the violence and uncertainty they had left behind. At first, Somali families were resettled in cities all across the country, but over time, Minnesota, especially the Twin Cities, emerged as a welcoming home. The state's strong network of social services, supportive faith communities, and growing job market made it a place where Somali newcomers could find both opportunity and a sense of belonging. Today, Minnesota is home to the largest Somali population in the United States, with an estimated 80,000 people. Their presence is felt in neighborhoods, schools, and businesses across the state, enriching Minnesota's cultural landscape. Neighborhoods like Cedar Riverside, often called Little Mogadishu, have become vibrant centers of Somali culture, commerce, and daily life. Here, Somali-owned businesses, restaurants, and shops line the streets, creating a unique blend of East African and Midwestern traditions. Most Somalis in Minnesota are now American citizens. Many arrived as children, growing up in Minnesota's schools, while others became citizens after years of hard work and dedication to their new home. Their journeys reflect both the challenges and the triumphs of starting over in a new country. Today, Somali Minnesotans are doctors, teachers, business owners, and public servants. They are leaders in their communities, role models for the next generation, and advocates for positive change. Through entrepreneurship, professional achievements, and community involvement, they contribute every day to Minnesota's economy and its growing diversity, helping to shape the state's future. The story of Minnesota's Somali community is one of seeking refuge, overcoming adversity, and embracing the American dream, while also preserving the rich heritage and traditions that make their community unique. Somali refugees endured years in camps before a rigorous U.S. resettlement process brought them to Minnesota. Agencies like Lutheran Social Service and Catholic Charities helped families adjust, providing housing, school enrollment, and job assistance. Early arrivals faced language barriers and trauma, but resilience and community bonds turned challenges into opportunities. Minnesota's history of welcoming refugees and available jobs made it an ideal destination. Somalis found work in manufacturing, airports, and healthcare, building stable lives and investing in their new home. Over decades, the community revitalized neighborhoods, opened businesses, and enriched Minnesota's culture. Somali Americans have become politically active, achieving milestones like election to Congress. Their journey is a testament to the promise of refuge and the power of community. In the wake of the president's controversial remarks and the subsequent crackdown, Minnesota's leaders responded with swift and unequivocal condemnation. Across the political spectrum, officials voiced their deep concern, emphasizing the need to protect the rights and dignity of all residents, regardless of their background or immigration status. Representative Ilhan Omar, herself a Somali-American refugee and a prominent voice for immigrant communities, called Trump's comments completely disgusting. She spoke passionately about the pain and fear these words inflicted on families who have already endured so much, highlighting the emotional toll on Minnesota's Somali community. Omar argued that these attacks went far beyond policy disagreements, describing them as personal harassment and targeted intimidation. She pointed out that such rhetoric not only undermines civil discourse, but also puts vulnerable communities at greater risk. As one of the most high-profile Somali Americans in the country, Omar's platform allowed her to directly challenge the administration's narrative. Her outspoken defense of her community resonated with many, inspiring others to speak out as well. Mayor Jacob Frey also weighed in, emphasizing that the vast majority of Somalis in Minnesota are U.S. citizens and longtime residents. He directly challenged the premise of the crackdown, calling it misguided and harmful to the fabric of the city. Frey defended sanctuary policies, arguing that they are essential for building trust and ensuring public safety. He stressed that when residents feel safe to cooperate with local authorities, the entire community benefits. Meanwhile, community advocates voiced growing fears of racial profiling and wrongful detention. Many worried that innocent people could be swept up in enforcement actions simply because of their background or appearance. The increased presence of ICE agents in neighborhoods sent a chill through the community. Parents kept their children home from school, and families avoided public spaces, feeling unwelcome and under constant threat. Through all these voices, leaders, advocates, and families, a picture emerges of a community under siege, yet determined to be seen, heard, and recognized as an integral part of the American story. Their resilience and unity shine through, even in the face of fear and uncertainty. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is the agency at the center of Minnesota's crackdown. ICE, created in 2003, enforces immigration laws and manages detention and removal of non-citizens. Its Enforcement and Removal Operations, ERO, Directorate, identifies, apprehends, and deports those without legal status. Enforcement priorities shift with each administration. Under Trump, any undocumented individual is a priority. This zero-tolerance approach creates widespread fear in immigrant communities. While ICE claims not to target based on appearance, operations often result in collateral arrests. In sanctuary cities, ICE conducts more visible at-large arrests, alarming entire communities. Deportation is a formal legal process, not an instant action. It begins with an ICE arrest and detention, followed by a decision to release or start removal proceedings. A notice to appear starts the case in immigration court, where the individual can present their case but must secure their own legal counsel. Many struggle without lawyers, reducing their chances of success. Individuals can apply for asylum or other relief, but the process is complex and slow, often taking years. Appeals can delay removal, but if all are exhausted, ICE arranges deportation. The process is lengthy and often heartbreaking for families. It's a system fraught with legal and emotional challenges. The Minnesota crackdown exposes deep divisions over immigration. Supporters argue robust enforcement is essential for the rule of law and national security, citing recent scandals as justification. They believe strong action deters illegal immigration and protects the legal system. Opponents call the crackdown inhumane and driven by xenophobia, not security. They argue most undocumented immigrants are hardworking contributors, and mass deportation tears families apart and harms local economies. Critics like Ilhan Omar and Jacob Frey advocate for pathways to legal status, not mass removals. Dehumanizing rhetoric, they say, turns policy into targeted attacks. Opponents call for comprehensive reform, addressing root causes and providing fair processes for those already here. The future for Minnesota's Somali community is filled with uncertainty and fear. Even citizens feel targeted by increased ICE activity and hostile rhetoric. Parents worry for their children. Many withdraw from public life to avoid profiling. Legal challenges and advocacy efforts are ramping up to defend those detained. Community leaders organize rallies and press conferences to counter the administration's narrative. The experience could either discourage civic engagement or inspire a new generation of Somali American leaders. The outcome depends on whether broader society stands in solidarity or remains silent. This chapter will shape the larger American story of immigration and belonging. Somali Americans hope for a future where they are judged by their contributions, not their origins.